Well, good evening and welcome to the Wednesday, March 17th, 2021 meeting of the Boulder City Planning Commission, and happy St. Patrick's Day for those so inclined. Before we get started and I call the meeting to order, we're just going to kind of note some of the governor's directive. So Section 7 and 10 of the Declaration of Emergency Directive 021 or in accordance with, there will be limited in-person attendance at this meeting. Preference given to the applicants who have an item on the agenda. If you want to attend this meeting or a future meeting, you could contact the city clerk's office at 702-293-9208. And as with us, attendees are required to wear face coverings. With that, I'll call the meeting to order. And let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So as just one note of business, please wait for the chairman, that'd be me, to recognize you by name prior to obtaining the floor. This does a couple of things. One, keeps order in the meeting, but also allows Holly to know who's going to be speaking so she can adjust the cameras to accurately capture us. Let's see. Second item would be public comment. We'll open it to public comment here in a moment. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. Each person has up to 5 minutes to speak. If an agenda item is also listed as a public hearing, which this agenda item is, persons may wait to speak until that particular item comes up. Given that there's a slight delay, we'll wait. We'll give 2 minutes to hear comments. Are they calling in or? Oh, and let me give you the number. Thank you. It's 702-589-9629. Again, 589-9629, and we'll give you some time to call in.
No, he's the applicant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I think hearing no comments, let's move on into the first agenda item, and that would be approval of the minutes of the January 20th, 2021 regular meeting. Does anyone have any comments? Mr.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Minutes pass. Second item of business is variance request V 21-650, Fred Damano of 114 Casamontana Court. And this is a public hearing on an application for variance in the R110 single-family residential zone for an addition, which results in a combined side setback of approximately 15 feet, whereas Section 11-3-5B of the City Code requires a minimum combined setback of 20 feet.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subject property is a typical cul-de-sac lot, which is narrow at the front and wide at the rear. The current owner plans to add a workshop addition to the existing attached garage with a 6-foot side setback to the southeast property line. Combined with the existing nearly 9-foot setback to the northwest property line, this results in a combined setback of approximately 15 feet where 20 feet is required per the code. There's a topographic survey, and if Holly will go that one, this survey was done primarily for the purpose of showing the existing setbacks for the house. And as you can see, that northwest or top property line, it shows that there's a wall that is about 5 feet over onto the neighboring property, and that's what kind of results in the need for the applicant's request. As you can see from his site plan on the following page, as when that was originally drawn, it was showing basically the total required setback because it was showing a much greater setback to the northwest property line than actually exists because whoever drew the plan was assuming that the wall was the property line. Well, as the owner has indicated in his information, he found out actually some years back that there was a survey error back when this subdivision was created. And apparently property lines on that cul-de-sac, or at least some of them, were not marked correctly. Therefore, the wall between this lot and the one to the north, which typically is put on a property line, was actually put 5 feet to the north. And so the basis for the applicant's argument is that if you measure the setbacks to the walls for his addition on that side of the home, combined with the setback on the north side as measured to the wall, that it actually provides the required 20-foot setback that this subdivision would have. It's just that per legal precedent, all setbacks are always measured to actual property lines. And because we had conflicting information in the file as to what the setbacks were, we had asked the applicant to get a survey done, which he did. And as the report notes, the only difference with the survey is that that was drafted, he had it drafted showing a 7-foot setback to the southeast line, and really he's going to go with a 6-foot setback that is shown on the site plan. So it's a slightly different size for the addition, but it's all covered in the staff report in terms of what he's actually asking for. The staff report goes through the 5 criteria that the Planning Commission must consider in order to approve a request, including which types of variances have been approved or denied in the past. The report concludes with optional findings the Commission can use to either approve or deny the request. If it's going to be approved, staff has recommended 2 conditions. The first, that the variance would be based on the plans and information provided and discussed at this meeting, so that if the variance is granted, it would not entitle the applicant to come back later to staff with a much bigger expansion or encroachment into any setbacks than what is shown on these plans. And secondly, a standard condition that the addition would not be used or converted to a dwelling or rental unit. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for staff on part of the commission? I have a question. Susan, do you know approximately how many notifications were sent out? And maybe that number is less important than were there any comments? I didn't see any in the package, but.
No, no written comments were received by mail or email. The owner of the vacant lot to the west has made a couple of phone calls, but I told him the information would be online. And so he said he would be, viewing that information online. And he called this morning because he couldn't find it initially, so I helped him find exactly where it was, and I didn't hear back from him. So hopefully that means that he's satisfied with it. And I'm sure one of our planning commissioners will be filling the committee in on this, but there is an active homeowners association for this area, so the owner has already gone to them and has received basically a preliminary indication that they intend to approve the request.
Thank you very much, Susan. Any other questions for staff? Seeing none, I would invite the applicant, Mr. D'Amano, to step forward, and if he has anything additional he'd like to add.
Excuse me. Well, thank you. Thank you all for taking the evening for just this one item. Susan has pretty much covered everything that we have gone over in putting this all together. The primary issue with the 5 feet to the wall on the north side of our lot, which we thought was the lot line, and turned out not to be, with aerial surveys, which part of that is in the packet where you can see the correct lot line and then the wall. We were made aware of this 2 years ago, and we got pretty rattled about it because we were afraid. Our next door neighbors are in their 80s, and actually we just lost one of them here a few weeks ago. We had got together with them and created a perpetual easement between the two homes with that 5-foot property line. So if something were to happen to them, the new owners or whatever couldn't come in and say, we need to move this wall or tear the wall down. So that's been the primary thing that we did 2 years ago, but I didn't realize it was all going to play into the situation with the workshop application. So that's pretty much all I have, unless you have questions for me.
I have a question. Mr. Rudd?
Yes, I have a question. When you're designing this, why didn't we just follow the setback of the existing garage? It seems like you have plenty of room to be able to accomplish that. Is there a particular reason? So as the property comes back, is there any particular reason why you didn't keep that same? What's that? Is there any particular reason why you didn't keep that same setback?
On the south side of the house, that
Yes.
where your finger is there, we kept that a 6-foot setback all the way down from the wall from that property line.
Okay, so my question is, when you designed it, it wouldn't have been that much effort to keep the 9'6", the same as the corner of your garage back?
Well, it would have, to the point where, we're attaching it as part of the garage for an entry from the garage into the workshop. So
So that would reduce that.
It's a flow, and that would have taken that away and primarily made it a freestanding structure, because there would have been no way to attach it at that point to bring it all the way over.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Mr. Lassoff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't know that it's necessarily going to affect my decision-making one way or the other, but did you give any thought with your neighbors about possibly just adjusting the lot line permanently instead of doing the easement?
We did give that consideration when we first found out about it, and the easiest fix to correct the situation when we discovered it was advice from Richard Ariati on what to do, because they were the ones that provided all the survey information. And his idea was just do a permanent easement, because I thought we were gonna be able to get the city to readjust lot lines and such, and I found out that wasn't gonna be happening. So we did that as being the easiest, most efficient way to do it,
Gotcha.
to protect the 5 feet.
I know there's a process that it can be done, so that's all.
Okay.
It's not that difficult when the lots are as large as yours, so.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Marvin?
I guess it's for Susan.
Go to the podium, please. Go to the podium, please, and use the microphone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Susan, if they were to purchase that property, over to the wall, wouldn't that affect the setback for the adjacent property? Or was there sufficient room?
I didn't check that because that wasn't brought up previously, so no, I can't
That-
answer that, yeah.
That perhaps
But
would
yes,
would
it
play
could-
into it.
It could potentially create a setback problem for the neighbor if the lot line was adjusted, but I haven't looked into that yet.
Okay.
Looks like it would come a little short yet, wouldn't it? Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? I do have one more. Fred, it looks like when completed, that the workshop is going to be, as the plans indicate, 6 feet from the property line. And it looks like the property owner on that side of the house is built up or has a wall right up to the property line. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
And does that owner have any comments, concerns?
No objections whatsoever.
Okay.
Dan Gildner,
Okay.
yeah. No, we spoke about it, and he didn't have any issues. As a matter of fact, he was the one that told me if I wanted to, I could build right up to the lot line, but that can't be done, so.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Thank you. It sounds like there are no other questions. Nothing, Ernie? Okay. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. This is a public hearing, and I would like to open up the public hearing on this item. As before, with the delay, we'll open it up for 2 minutes to allow folks to call in. And again, the number to call in is 702-589-9629. Again, 589-9629. Hearing no comments, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission for recommendation, comments, and discussion. Mr. Biaski.
Yeah, first I'd like to just recognize the fact that I am part of I'm president of the Lake Mead Views States Homeowners Association, so I am familiar with this particular case, and I think Susan commented to it, but Mr. D'Amato did bring it before the association, our Architectural Review Board, just to get an initial, how shall I say, indication as to whether the association would approve it. Our setback requirements are different than the city's. We do run a minimum 6 foot on one side, 14 on the other. The way the structure came in, it does clearly make the 6 foot on the one side. The other side, the 14, only is met less a few inches if you take it to the wall. And given the fact that this was an error in surveying, not on the part of the original owners or anything, and the fact, of course, that there's an easement, I think in our minds supported us. Given no other conditions occurring, we would support approval, subject to him completing applications to us. So, with that said, I just want to disclose that. I have no financial interest in it, but therefore I think I can vote.
Thank you very much. Any other comments, or would someone care to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Lassoff.
unless somebody else has any other comments, I'm prepared to make a motion to approve variance V-21-650, reference staff conditions
Very
and findings.
I second it.
seconded by Mr. Rudd. Do we have any comments, any concerns? Anyone want to be heard on this matter from the commission? That being said, let's take it to the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Looks like you've got your variance, Mr. D'Amato.
Thank you.
Very welcome. That brings us to agenda item number 3, monthly progress report on development allotments.
No comment.
And number 4, final public comment. So as with the past public comment periods, let's give it 1 minute and 30 seconds. And all that wish to be heard, please call in at 702-589-9629. Thank you. Hearing no phone calls or comments, I'll bring this public comment period to a close and Before I close the meeting, just want to thank everyone for their attention and for their service to the community tonight. Hereby bring this meeting to a close.